Did you know you can make panna cotta with yogurt? I didn't know either until I was watching an episode of The Kitchen on the Food Network, and Jeffrey Morrow made a Greek yogurt panna cotta. I have been making my own yogurt for over 20 years. I started because of the SCD Diet. So of course when I saw this recipe on there, I knew I had to try to make my own version because I love using yogurt for whatever I can use it for. So my recipe, it's only slightly different from that one, but it uses coconut milk in place of heavy cream. This doesn't take too many ingredients. You just need your yogurt. You don't even have to strain it first. You want it to be a little thicker. It's supposed to be like a Greek yogurt consistency. Mine usually kind of comes out like that when I make it, so I didn't strain it at all, and it's totally fine. Like I have all my ingredients here. I have 2 cups of plain yogurt. And that is my SCD yogurt. If you're following SCD Diet, you can use your SCD yogurt. I have a half a cup of honey, and I love this adjustable measuring cup. It does liquid and non-liquids, and it has measurements for like everything. So you'll see why I love it so much when I use it in the recipe, but I will put a link to it down below too. I have 1 1/4 cups of full fat coconut milk. You want to separate them out like this for the recipe, and you can see I am making some yogurt there in the background. And that is 2 tablespoons of plain gelatin and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and that's all you need. I have made this a few times now, and I've tried both using partially coconut cream and regular coconut milk. And then the one I'm making in this video is actually just all coconut milk, because I think that's easy. It's hard to find coconut cream that doesn't have a bunch of fillers in it. And I actually liked it better a little bit lighter, because the regular coconut milk is a little bit lighter than coconut cream. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my yogurt into a bigger bowl here. And then I'm going to add half a cup of my coconut milk to that. And then we'll set the other half cup aside for right now. And then I'm just going to whisk this all together. So if you have any chunks of coconut milk, that will just incorporate in here. You know how it gets the little hard pieces on top. So those are just going to work their way in as you're whisking. We're going to whisk this until it's pretty smooth. So I'm just going to set this aside, and then we're going to do our next step. So now I have that 4th cup of coconut milk, and I'm going to add that to a little bowl, and then we're going to just sprinkle our gelatin right on top. And I'd like to try to get it as even as I can, but it can be kind of hard to do. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this aside for 5 minutes, which is about how long it'll take to heat up the rest of our coconut milk with the honey, which is what I'm going to do next. So I got the half cup of coconut milk there. And now I am adding my honey. You can see why I like this, because you can just push the honey forward and you get a lot more of it than when you try to scrape it out. Then you can just scrape the little bit off of the top here. I have the heat on low, and I'm just going to stir this in. It's going to melt the honey, and then it should start to simmer a little bit. So you can see the honey is melted, and I'm just going to keep letting it heat up. So this is bubbling a little bit, so then you're going to want to let it simmer for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. All right, so I've removed it from the heat, and I'm going to whisk in my vanilla. And now I'm going to whisk in my gelatin mixture. So you just want to whisk this until everything is dissolved. If there's any really big pieces that don't dissolve, I just pull those out. So you can see there are a couple little pieces in here. I'm just going to take those out and throw them away. All right, so now we have our yogurt and coconut milk mixture we had set aside. We're just going to whisk this gelatin mixture right into it. We're going to whisk this until it is nice and smooth and combined, but it combines really easily, as you can see here. All right, that's combined, so we're going to pour it into our ramekins. You need 6 4-ounce ramekins. I don't have 6 that match, so I have what I have. I have my ceramic and I have a couple glass ones here. And we are just going to pour in here to try to evenly divide. These lids aren't actually for these, but I just need something on top to keep them covered while they refrigerate. I have a half a cup of blueberries, a 1/4 cup of honey, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in here. And so I'm just going to make this quick blueberry, it's kind of a syrup, kind of a jam topping for my panna cotta. And what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to let this all melt. The honey's already melting. I have it over medium heat. And then it's just going to take probably like between 5 and 10 minutes. The blueberries will start to break down as it heats up. So you can see that the water is already starting to darken a little bit. So that's the blueberries starting to break down. So this is almost done. You can see it's thickening up, and the blueberries are almost totally broken down. I just use my spoon to crush them a little bit as I'm stirring. I'm just going to let this simmer for a couple more minutes, and it will thicken as it cools, so you could use it for a syrup. While it's still kind of warm, it'd be great for pancakes or waffles. All right, so this is perfect. It's totally, the blueberries are broken down. There's still a little texture in there. I want that. I want there to be a little texture, so they're not completely obliterated, but it's thickening up. It will thicken more as I cool it down, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the heat. All right, so these have been in for 4 hours, a little over 4 hours, and you can see they're totally firmed up. So you can serve them right in the ramekin if you want. That's no problem at all. But I'm going to show you how to take it out of here if you want to serve it just on a plate. So what I do is I just take a butter knife and I just go around the edge. Oops, try not to cut into it like I just did. Just around the edge like this. Harder to do on the camera. And then I go around again and I just kind of push the knife under just a little bit to lift it off the bottom a little bit. And it's going to put it upside down and shake it. And then if it doesn't come out, you might need the knife. We'll see what happens here. Yep, there we go. We did it. So, and there we have it from the side. It's beautiful, right? So there's a little bit of cracks on the top. That's not a problem. So you can see my blueberries have thickened up really nice here. So we're just going to cover those up right now with some blueberry syrup. And you could use fresh fruit too, but I really like to put the sauce on there. You could add some toasted coconut. I'm going to add a little bit of toasted walnuts on top here. And like I said, you can totally just serve it right in the ramekin, put a little topping right on top. It looks just as beautiful and easier to do. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to serve it up on a plate, just leave it right in the ramekin. That's totally fine. I have the one here that is I'm just doing in the ramekin, and I put the berries on a little bit ago and refrigerated it. So you can see they spread out a little bit, which I think it only makes it look prettier. So what we probably want to know is how does it taste? So you can see it firms up very nicely here. So that is it. And we are just going to taste it. So it gets nice and smooth and just, you know, it's just a nice, smooth, silky dessert.